Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. I hope you absolutely had an awesome week wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours. For our darling little friends in the US of A, I know it was your Thanksgiving holiday period, and I hope you really enjoyed that and enjoyed eating your turkey and spending time with those that you really love, your special people in your life, your family, your friends, and even had a time to remember those that are no longer with us, because it is always difficult at the holiday time when we sort of look at the table and see a couple of empty spaces that aren't there anymore, or some faces that should be there that are no longer with us, and it can be a sad but a happy time at the same time. So I thought we'd kick off the month of what I call Christmas this week. I mean, as you can see with the set behind me, I've already started to decorate for the holiday season here in Australia. For those of you that live in the Northern Hemisphere, we're heading into summer here. So today it's the last few days of spring here on the Gold Coast, and we don't have any sunshine. We have a lot of rain, so hence my hair has gone flat. And it's very steamy, very humid, one shall say, but a really exciting time of the year. I just love the Christmas period. And for those of you that are celebrating a birthday in this amazing time of the year, this Sagittarian time, happy birthday to you all. Over the next few weeks, of course, you know, as we lead up to Christmas, we'll have different things that we talk about as we head towards the festive season. But this week, to kick the show off, I want to talk about our Simply Tarot card of the week. Now, this is not necessarily one of the most positive cards we've ever shared with you on the show, but we have to be aware that not everything in our lives is always on a positive, upbeat nature. Even though we may feel we're on a positive, upbeat nature, life doesn't always take us in that direction. And this card is a perfect example of that this week. This week, the card is called the Ace of Swords. Now, the Ace of Swords represents to me frustrations, but it can also be a double-edged sword. Now, what I mean by the double-edged sword, it could be a famine or it could be a feast. And it can be a hollow victory. And sometimes we get a victory in our lives that by the time we've achieved it, it's like, oh, is that all? I thought it was going to be more than that. It sort of didn't turn out to be the victory that we thought it should be. And sometimes I relate that to people trying to outdo each other as human beings. You know, we go really hard to try and beat somebody in a race, or to achieve more than them at work, or to buy a bigger car and a better car before them, or to get the bigger house or the better person in our lives, or whatever the case may be. And when we get what we thought we were aiming for, it's like a really hollow victory. And it can sometimes leave us with this feeling of great emptiness, of great inadequacies. And I always say to people, be very, very careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. And it may not be what you want it to be when you finally do achieve what you've hankered for, what you've longed for, what you've been jealous over for such a long time. Maybe it's not quite as exciting at the top as you thought it was going to be, and how you've been the green-eyed monster with jealousy of other people and their achievements, and you longing for that and wishing it could be yours, and even being a little bit destructive in your energy and your thoughts towards them, that then when you achieve what you thought you wanted, it really doesn't turn out to be that exciting or that fulfilling inside your soul. So always be very, very careful of how we look at other people and what we look at other people and be jealous of. I mean, jealousy is a normal human emotion. It's not something I think that we should ignore it. And it's not something that I'm saying that we shouldn't acknowledge either. It is part of what makes us being human. And we have to acknowledge that and accept it. It's how we focus on that jealousy or that green-eyed energy. Yes, we can look at someone and say, oh, wow, I wonder what it'd be like to have that, and be sort of envious for a split second. But in no way do we wish to be that person or to have that possession or that situation. But we look at it and we think, wow, that would be amazing. That's a different form of jealousy. That's not a negative jealousy. That's jealousy in a positive way, if I can put it that way. So just be very careful of, if you're going to sort of look or lust after something, that what are the reasons behind it? What is your emotional triggers, and why do you feel that way? So we're now going to move the show along to our soy candle of the week, and because we've moved into the fire sign energy and we've moved into the Sagittarian time of the year, my absolute favourite time of the year, for those of you that haven't guessed by now, yes, I am a fellow Sag, and I just absolutely adore this time of the year. It's magical. It's a time of the year when I feel that we should all start to have something to look forward to. We should be positive. We should be positive about what we've achieved this year, or maybe what we didn't achieve. That when we look back at it and think, well, had I achieved that, then maybe I wouldn't have had this over here, or I wouldn't have gone that direction, or I wouldn't have met this person. And just be very grateful and thankful that we made another year, that we've achieved it, we've got this far, that we've had, you know, some ups and some downs probably in life, but we've made it. And that's a really positive thing. And for those of you that love Christmas as I do, well, of course Santa's coming, and if you've been a really good person, then I'm sure your wishes will be granted in some form or another. My wish this year from Santa is that everybody finds world peace. I think that would be an amazing gift that we could all share. So maybe we might be able to all send out some positive vibrations there in the aim of world peace. So the candle this week, as I said, is the fire sign candle. It's the candle that represents all the fire signs, not just Sagittarius. It rules Aries, Leo and Sagittarius. So it's a beautiful candle. It's something that it's probably one of my favourites out of the 27 we have in the range, and purely because I suppose the fragrances that were chosen for each and every candle were chosen specifically to honour that particular star sign or that element or that particular energy that we were trying to focus on for the intent. So this one obviously would be one of my favourites, with me being a fire sign. Now we're going to move on to our little mini astrology series. And, you know, each week, if you've been following along with us, you know that each week we work on a 4-part series. We've been working our way through the 10 planets in the solar system. And this week I'm excited to say we're up to Neptune. Now, Neptune is one of these planets that gets an awful lot of bad press. Now, Neptune's not a destructive planet. There's no such thing, in my opinion, as a destructive planet. There's different layers of energy that come from each planet, and each planet gives us different lessons or different ways of interpreting their energy when we hold hands with an astrology sign or a zodiac sign. So Neptune is affectionately known as the planet of illusion or delusion. Now, illusion can be something that we can create, something that can be magical, our imagination. Films come from our imagination. You know, some of the greatest film directors in the world must have a very vivid imagination, or able to take themselves out into what's affectionately known as the Neptunian fog and create and manifest and look at 4, 5, 6, 10 different ways that a situation or an opportunity in life could play out, and then play around with it and look at it. If I move this person to over there, what would that result be, and whatever. So they're able to do that. And then they bring back probably the best one, and that's where they create their film or their masterpiece from. For the rest of us mere mortals who haven't got that high intensity of creative energy, we just have to work with, you know, am I looking at something squarely? Am I really looking at it for what it is? And is there a lesson to be learned here, or am I just deluding myself and it's wishful thinking? So that's where the word delusion comes in, because Neptune does work in a fog most of the time when most of us can't see our way. And then when the fog starts to thin or lift, we start to see the clarity of what Neptune has been trying to teach us. Neptune is an interesting planet. I don't say that it's necessarily a negative planet, and it's not necessarily a positive planet. It's a planet that we all need to work with. It's known as one of the outer planets, so it doesn't have the same, or supposedly the same, personal effect on us as the closer planets like the Sun, the Moon, Mercury and Venus do in our chart. But I still believe Neptune has a very powerful role to play in astrology. I don't think any planet can be pushed to one side and say you're not as strong as or as influential as another one, because it depends on the individual's chart and how many aspects. And when I say an aspect, how many times Neptune may be holding hands or doing a dance with another planet known as an aspect. So you might have 10 aspects to Neptune and only have 1 to the Sun. So Neptune in your chart will be stronger than your Sun or your own astrology star sign. So there's many factors that make up an astrology chart. So today we're going to kick off the Neptune series with Neptune in the first three signs of Aries, Taurus and Gemini. Now, Aries and Gemini, this is really fascinating because this is the time where Neptune can be a little bit of a prankster. He can sort of come in with such brilliance, and because the Aries energy is up for anything and ready to try anything that's new, different, innovative, as long as they can stand out in the crowd and be me first. So the two of them holding hands together here can get up to mischief. So it's sometimes where we can see amazing breakthroughs and things that happen really, really fast because it's, you know, uniqueness in a most positive, dynamic, fiery, outspoken way. And it's sometimes, I think, where we get amazing breakthroughs and things that seem to literally come out of nowhere can be the result of Neptune in Aries, because it's once the fog started to lift a little bit, and maybe because they are so fiery and want to be first and want to be me first out the gate, that they're ready to run with something that's new and untried before anybody else. So let's be very thankful that for those people that do have Aries in Neptune. So we move on to the next sign, Neptune in Taurus. Now, once we start to work with the Taurian energy, we know everything there is to know about Taurus. What's mine's mine and what's yours is mine, and this is no exception. So any ideas, any breakthroughs, any creativity, anything that can be considered positive and sometimes even negative, even the delusional stuff, Taurus will claim as their own and not prepared to share it. And I suppose nobody wants to share with anybody else if you've been deluded or you've deluded yourself. But in this case, the Taurian energy can be so fixed and so rigid that sometimes I think that the Taurian energy can actually stifle the opportunities that Neptune can bring, that when Neptune starts to break up the fog and says to the Taurian, now look, you know, maybe if you try this path, this will bring you the stability, the finances, the riches, the whatevers that you're looking for. But Taurus, being so stubborn, turns around and just closes his ears off and says, I can't hear anything, I'm not listening, I don't want to listen, and sometimes can be their own worst enemy here and blocking the opportunities that Neptune is trying to share with them. So just be a little bit aware of that if you have Neptune in Taurus. Make sure you don't close your listening ears off all the time. You know, you can sort of have one foot looking like you're interested and the other one ready to leave, and then you can always make your decision and say, no, that's not for me, and turn your back and walk away. But at least listen first. So we come to our final sign this week, which is Neptune in Gemini. Now, I want to say to you, for those of you that have Neptune in Gemini, lucky you, because what this means in layman's terms is the brilliance, the opportunities, the ideas can literally come out of nowhere. Neptune really functions very well with the duality of Gemini here. Some brilliant ideas, brilliant opportunities, the light bulb moments, the things that come out of nowhere, and people say, where did that come from? And you just say, oh, I just dreamed it up just now. And they're very modest about it because to them it was just, well, it's just one of those 5 million things that runs through a Gemini's mind in half an hour. What's the big deal? So they don't really even understand their own brilliance. So for our final part of astrology this week, we always have a little glimpse around the universe before we take a reading. This week I do want to seem like I'm a broken record, and I do want to harp on again about Mercury conjunct or holding hands with Saturn in Sagittarius, making a beautiful aspect to Uranus in Aries. Now, I know we've spoken about this a couple of times before. It really, really, really is our very last chance. If we have a major issue that we need to talk about that is delicate, that needs to be handled with kid gloves, that is maybe a very powerful or a very dynamic subject or something that's going to affect a lot of people or something that you've been thinking about a long time and you've been waiting for the right opening to sort of talk about it or bring this up for discussion, now is your last chance. And I'm saying your last chance because in a bit over a week's time, we go into Mercury retrograde, and those of you rolling your eyes saying, oh, no, not again. Yes, Mercury does go retrograde 3 times a year for approximately 3 weeks at a time, and we know it's not the time to have discussions and nobody has their listening ears on. So this is why I'm saying it's like a last chance to be able to bring up those major issues that may have been troubling you. On a much more global score, I'm really hoping that this may just be the time where we get some sensible breakthroughs in discussions, in world leaders sitting down and talking about things instead of flexing their muscles and trying to say, I'm the one with the biggest ego in the paddock here. Let's try and sit down and find some solutions to the problems that are around the world, whether it be terrorism, whether it be famine, whether it be global warming or whatever. Let's try and have some sensible grown-up conversations now and work towards making this planet a better place. So it is sort of, in a sense, the last chance for some great communication for a little while. So please, if you've got something to talk about with someone that's really important to you or something that's very close to your heart, now's the time to take that on board. So we're going to take our first caller, and it's Michael in Prentice, Mississippi, USA. Are you there, Michael?
Pretty good. About yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. How can I help you tonight, Michael?
I'd like to get a reading on my love life.
Or lack of it, I feel, Michael.
Say that again. I didn't understand you.
I said, lack of love life. So I didn't feel that there was anybody particularly special right around you at the moment, Michael.
This girl named Tabitha Lowry.
Right. Okay, but why do I feel that she's pulling her energy away from you? Have the two of you had a disagreement, or is she sort of, pulling away from you at the moment? Because I just sort of feel the energy from Tabitha is sort of she's pulling away. She's not on the same connection with you, Michael, at the moment.
I have no idea. I don't know what was going on between she and I. I don't know. Me and her, we was talking, and then all of a sudden, it just stopped, and then we had started talking back, and it just goes in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah, I think the problem with Tabitha is I think that, the connection between the two of you gets so intense and she gets a little bit nervous. She gets a little bit frightened of, how intense this friendship/relationship is getting, and I'm not sure that she's ready to deal with that. I don't think there's anything that you've done wrong as such, Michael. At the moment, she's on one of those I'm pulling away from Michael energies. I'm not prepared to sort of come forward anymore, but I feel she will be back again. Look, Michael, I don't want to sound patronising, but I feel with Tabitha at the moment, I think you've just got to give her space. You've just got to let her come to you when she's ready. Don't try and sort of push or force or cajole her in any way. Let her come at her own pace. If you can do that, then I feel this relationship has more of a chance of becoming a lot stronger as she starts to overcome her own fears and her own worries of being rejected again. I think she's been very, very severely hurt in the past, Michael, and this is part of what is making her sort of on again, off again, on again, off again. But I think once we get past the end of this year and go into 2018, then I think the relationship stands the chance of it really becoming quite serious. So have you actually met Tabitha yet?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, good. But do you know much about her past? Because there's somebody there from her past who really, really hurt her.
Yes, and that's true.
Yeah, and that's what she's struggling with. She's got to let go of that ghost, if I can put it that way. I think she's working hard towards doing that, and if you can just cut her a little bit of slack and be just kind and be yourself and just be there and let her come to you and let her be the one to take the lead a little bit, I just sort of feel the early part of the new year will see this relationship really ramp up to being everything that you believe it can be, Michael, and so much more. So I really do believe that you and Tabitha do have the potential there for a really strong future together if you can just be patient.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay. Wonderful to talk with you, Michael. Have a great night. So we're going to go to Tammy now in Burlington in Wisconsin. Are you there, Tammy?
Yes.
How can I help you tonight, Tammy?
I'm just curious about my love life, which direction it's going, what's happening.
Okay. So, Tammy, is there a dark-headed man that's on the horizon that is somebody special connected around you at the moment?
I'm with him, but he's not with me. Physically, he's not here. He's incarcerated, so he's not.
Okay, all right. But he's the special someone that you want to know about.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were both on the same page here. Yes, I appreciate the fact that there's this, this really difficult distance between the two of you through no fault of either of you at this point in time. It's just the way things are. I want to share with you, though, Tammy, there has been times, though, where your special man has really thought very long and hard about ending this relationship, this situation with you, because he believes it's not fair on you. So has he spoken to you about that, or has that just been that you felt his energy change and sort of becoming distant from you, or both?
Did you say that he felt like maybe ending it?
He's thought about it. He's given it a lot of thought, but I didn't know that whether he'd actually discussed that with you or whether or not it had just been in his behaviour, like communication had been sort of different.
Yes. Communication is difficult. We're writing in letters right now. Phone calls are hard. We're getting back together after 10 years of separation.
Right, okay. Yeah, but in the recent communication with him, would it be fair to say that you noticed a change, as if something was different?
No, not too much. But I don't know if that's just me not wanting to.
Oh, yeah, look, I can understand that. Look, I mean, I appreciate if the two of you have been apart for 10 years and, he's nearly ready to be released, of course there's going to be an awful lot of things that are going to flood in and out of his mind. What happens if the two of you see each other physically together, when you're free to, re-establish your relationship? What happens if you don't like each other? All these things are going through his mind. And look, he wouldn't be human if all these things weren't going through his mind. So to me, they're all positive signs, even though there may be days there where you're going to pick up on this energy, and this is why I'm harping on it. And you may pick up energy that you don't even know where it's coming from, and you think, well, why all of a sudden am I feeling this way? I should be excited, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, is this what I want? Just be aware what you're doing is tapping into his energy, and it's not necessarily something to say that this is right or that's wrong. Just go with the energy. Don't try and question it. Do you know what I mean? Just let it flow.
Yes.
And let's just take one hour at a time and look forward to the time when the two of you can spend time together. Yes, it's going to be like starting all over again, because no matter what you say, 10 years has passed, a lot of water under the bridge for both of you, and you both have become different people in that time. Even though you haven't stopped loving each other as such, you've still both become very different people. So it's like when you get this opportunity again, it's going to be like we've just met. We've got to really get to know each other again. And there's going to be times there where he's going to seem distant or not able to tell you how he feels, because I'm only assuming if you've been locked away like that for such a long time, a lot of things have changed in how he would normally have reacted to things. So he's got to adjust to outside life again. And you're going to have to be the bigger person to allow him that time to adjust. So, look, I don't think the relationship's doomed. I don't believe that for 1 second. What I'm trying to share with you is I think there's a lot of things here that are going to need to be worked through. And you're going to have to be aware that I feel that for some sort of reason, this time that he's been away from you in some ways has not been what I would call positive or conducive to him feeling good about himself. It really has affected his self-esteem and what I think he wants to achieve in the next 10 years of his life. So you're going to have the patience of Job to be able to sort of bite your tongue sometimes and know when you can sort of say something and know when you've got to keep your mouth zippered. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be...
Yeah.
It's going to a difficult time. You know, there's going to be some really great highs, and yet there's going to be some other times there where you're nearly tearing your hair out and wondering, why did I put my life on hold for 10 years for this? You know what I mean? But, you know, I wish I had a magic wand and we could just wave it and make it all right, but we can't. So you just need to be aware of that. I do feel, though, when he does come out, I don't think it's going to take him very long to establish getting back into the workforce, which is going to be an almighty step forward by being able to take his own power back, have a job, have finances coming in and starting to re-establish a life. That's going to be very important. And in part of that, you're going to feel excluded. So you need to be very aware of that it's not a deliberate exclusion. It's him trying to establish who he is as an individual again. So you're going to sort of have to take a little bit of a back seat while that happens and just be sort of like the silent wallflower there that's always giving the positive vibes. But I feel, you know, within 6 months of him being released, I think you're going to be in a much happier place and a much more secure place knowing that there's a definite future together. And that's what you need to keep hanging on to, Tammy. So I wish you well. I know it's been a very long journey, but I know that, you know, this is, you know, sometimes things are meant to be this way. You know, we don't have answers for why things happen in our lives. They just do.
Right.
And, you know, if you weren't meant to be with him, you would have walked away a long time ago.
Yes, we're going to get married, so right away. So it's been a long time apart, and the whole time longing for the same person. I'm not able to.
Good. But that's good.
Yes,
well, congratulations on your impending marriage. But, you know, it's going to take a lot of patience, Tammy. I wish you both well.
Yes.
Have a great night, sweetie. Lovely to talk to you. So we're coming to the end of the show again. We'll see each other again next week. So next week on the show, we'll have our Simply Tarot card of the week. Our next 4-part series of Neptune will be in Cancer, Leo and Virgo. We'll have our soy candle of the week, and we will also see what's happening in the universe next week. We'll be having a little chat about Mercury retrograde again. Oh dear, don't those times come around really fast. So whatever you're doing in this amazing globe of ours, have a very, very happy week and start getting ready for the festive season, and I know it's going to be a big one. And don't forget, Santa is watching, so make sure you're nice. See you next week. Bye for now.